Welcome to Mr. Joe's exclusive stories, where real emotions meet unforgettable lessons. Today's story is about Rosie Turner, a woman cast out in her darkest moment, yet destined to rise again with unexpected help. It's a tale of betrayal, revenge, resilience, and rediscovered love. Stay with me, because this story just might change the way you see strength and second chances. Rosie Turner thought her life was secure, married, expecting a child, and ready to embrace motherhood. But at just 5 months pregnant, her world shattered. Her husband's betrayal with his mistress left her abandoned, humiliated, and cast out with nothing but her unborn baby. Heartbroken and stripped of the life she'd built, Rosie struggled through the darkness of divorce and despair, questioning if she'd ever rise again. For years, Rosie had imagined this season of life as a golden chapter. The soft mornings waking beside a loving partner, the gentle rhythm of preparing for their child, the certainty of belonging. She had traded her promising career as a marketing executive for the warmth of family life, believing her sacrifices were investments in a future filled with laughter and security. But one rainy Tuesday morning, all those illusions collapsed. Her husband, Darren, had been growing distant for months, always with excuses, late meetings, urgent business trips, vague explanations that never quite added up. Rosie's instincts whispered suspicions, but she silenced them. Pregnancy made her vulnerable, needy, and she clung to the belief that love and loyalty still held their ground. Until the day she came home early, clutching a bag of baby clothes she had excitedly purchased, only to find Darren entangled in another woman's arms. The sight froze her. Time slowed. Her breath caught in her throat, and the room spun. The mistress, a younger woman with sharp red lipstick and careless laughter, looked at Rosie with disdain, as if her presence was an inconvenience. Darren didn't deny it. He didn't stutter, apologize, or rush toward her. Instead, he looked annoyed that she had discovered what he no longer cared to hide. That night, humiliation grew teeth. Darren's words cut deeper than the betrayal itself. "You've let yourself go, Rosie. Always tired, always nagging. She makes me feel alive again." And then, as if that cruelty wasn't enough, he forced her out of the home they once shared, leaving her with nothing but a suitcase, a swollen belly, and an ache that throbbed in her bones. Rosie found herself standing outside in the cold rain, suitcase handle trembling in her grasp, her heart breaking not just for herself, but for the child she carried. Where would they go? What future did they have now? Her parents had long passed. Her friends had slowly drifted away as her marriage consumed her life, and the once vibrant woman she had been was now a shadow, unwanted and discarded. Days blurred into weeks. Rosie moved into a cramped apartment on the edge of the city, its peeling wallpaper and flickering light bulbs a stark reminder of how far she had fallen. She cried herself to sleep more nights than she cared to count. Every kick from her baby reminded her of both hope and fear. Hope for the new life within her, and fear of the unknown that awaited. Bills piled up. Her savings dwindled. Job applications went unanswered. Employers hesitated when they saw her pregnancy, and even those who didn't seem to look at her with pity rather than opportunity. Rosie felt invisible, voiceless, trapped in a cycle of despair. But life has a strange way of turning when least expected. It was at a charity networking event, one she reluctantly attended at the urging of an old friend, that Rosie first met Andrew Jaffe. He was unlike anyone she had encountered before. Young but already a celebrated CEO, his reputation built not only on sharp business acumen, but also on his reputation for fairness and innovation. Rosie had read about him in business magazines back when her own career still held promise. She never imagined their paths would cross, let alone intersect so profoundly. Andrew noticed her before she noticed him. While others in the room sparkled with confidence and ambition, Rosie stood quietly near the edge, her hands resting protectively over her belly, her smile forced and weary. Something about her drew his attention. Perhaps it was the strength hidden beneath her vulnerability, or the way her eyes seemed to carry entire novels of untold pain. Their first conversation was simple, almost awkward. He asked about her background. She hesitated, not wanting to spill her tragedy to a stranger. But Andrew had a way of listening that invited honesty. Before long, Rosie found herself sharing fragments of her story. The betrayal, the humiliation, the loneliness of starting over. She expected judgment or polite dismissal, but Andrew surprised her. "I see someone stronger than she realizes," he said quietly. "Someone who deserves better than what she's been given." Those words, so simple yet so profound, cracked something open inside her. For the first time in months, Rosie felt seen, not as a burden, not as a failure, but as a person still capable of worth. Their paths began to intertwine from that night forward. Andrew offered her a position at his company, not out of pity, but because he recognized the talent buried beneath her hurt. He remembered her name from campaigns she had led years before, admiring her creativity and precision. Though Rosie hesitated, afraid of workplace gossip, afraid of failing again, Andrew insisted, assuring her that motherhood and career could coexist. Stepping back into the corporate world was terrifying. Rosie battled self-doubt at every turn. She felt eyes on her, whispering judgments about the pregnant woman daring to reclaim her place. But Andrew stood beside her, not shielding her, but empowering her. He gave her challenging projects, trusted her instincts, and celebrated her successes. Slowly, the fragments of the confident woman she once was began to piece themselves together. Yet beneath her professional growth simmered another fire, one that Andrew fanned carefully: revenge. Not the reckless kind that consumes, but a deliberate reclamation of dignity. Together, they strategized ways to expose Darren's corrupt dealings, for it turned out Darren's business ventures were far from clean. With Andrew's resources and Rosie's insider knowledge, they gathered evidence, built connections, and crafted a plan that would leave Darren facing the consequences of his arrogance. The day the scandal broke was the day Rosie felt her chains fall away. Headlines screamed of Darren's fraudulent schemes, his reputation crumbling overnight. The mistress who once smirked in Rosie's face vanished from the public eye, abandoning Darren just as easily as she had stolen him. For Rosie, it wasn't about schadenfreude. It was about justice, about reclaiming the voice Darren had tried to silence. Through late nights of planning, whispered strategy sessions over coffee, and quiet moments of shared laughter, Rosie and Andrew grew closer. Their partnership, forged in the fires of hardship, began to blossom into something deeper. Andrew admired her resilience, her ability to rise from ashes stronger than before. Rosie, in turn, saw in Andrew not just a successful man, but a kind soul who believed in her when she no longer believed in herself. When Rosie finally held her baby daughter in her arms, Andrew was there, not as an intruder, but as a steadfast presence, his hand steady on her shoulder, his eyes softened with tenderness. He adored the child as if she were his own, and Rosie felt a kind of safety she had thought forever lost. Life didn't transform overnight. Sleepless nights, demanding work, and the scars of betrayal still lingered. But with Andrew's encouragement, Rosie climbed the career ladder again, this time not for someone else's dream, but for her own. She designed marketing campaigns that made waves, built teams that thrived under her leadership, and redefined herself not as a victim, but as a woman reborn. And somewhere along that journey, friendship melted into love. It wasn't the fiery, reckless passion she once mistook for devotion. It was steady, patient, built on mutual respect and shared triumphs. Andrew never rushed her, never pushed her beyond what she was ready for. He simply stood beside her until one day she realized that the walls she had built around her heart were no longer needed. Rosie Turner had been broken, cast aside, left to drown in despair. But she rose, not alone, but with someone who saw her light even in the darkest night. Her story became one not of betrayal, but of resilience, not of loss, but of rediscovery. And this time, her happiness wasn't borrowed, conditional, or fragile. It was hers, unshakable and real. Rosie's journey reminds us that no betrayal can destroy a spirit determined to rise, and no heartbreak is the final chapter when kindness and courage step in. If this story touched your heart, don't just leave. Join our growing family here at Mr. Joe's Exclusive Stories. Subscribe now, hit the notification bell, and share this video so more people can find hope through stories that heal. Until next time, remember, every ending is just the beginning of a greater story.